object.
Third phase of moon, Blake Cousins. Wow. Again, this Friday, we're back taking calls from around the world. I just raced it back, as a matter of fact, to get here. We captured something quite amazing. It was something beautiful. You're going to be seeing it on Third Phase of Moon live when we put this up on YouTube. What it is a rainbow, but it's unlike something I've never seen. Rainbows usually have some kind of arc. This thing just shot straight up and stood there for about 20 minutes or so without even moving whatsoever, and it got really bright. Hey, it's something quite beautiful. We thought we'd share it before we start taking callers from around the world. Last week's radio show. Wow, that already has been viewed almost 100,000 times. People want to listen to people's calls as they come in, sharing their UFO stories, and we're hoping we get to the boy. I think his name was Jaron. He said his dad worked on the documentary called Alien Autopsy. Also, maybe we'll be able to get to that other gentleman that called in. I think his name was Peter, who claimed that he killed an alien along with his friend when he was about 14 years old. Also, I like the last vid that people said from Flip It For You of the rancher. Yeah, Jack. Hell yeah, I gotta say that was excellent footage. Something quite amazing, and a weird sound that came along with it. Rarely do you hear maybe extraterrestrial sound along with the UFO sighting. And I think Jack might be actually having more encounters. I just spoke with him a couple days ago. He says things are still going on, and he has his camera ready, so I wouldn't be surprised if we get to hear from Jack here real soon. You know what? Let's just get straight to callers. We got a Dr. J. Andy Elias with us as well, so I'm hoping he could maybe cross-examine some of the people that call in a good way. You know, Dr. J is a good guy. He's not about to put anybody on the trial stand as a prosecuting attorney, but he's got some good questions. Breaking news right now into Third Phase of Moon. As of past week, finally the major media picked up on it, but we were the first to break it. And I think we even got more information in regards to these megastructures that Kepler may have discovered. It's quite amazing. I know Dr. J's been doing some research into it, and there's a lot of callers coming in, so don't worry, we're going to get to everybody tonight. You know, this Kepler discovery is quite amazing. Hey, Dr. J, thanks for joining us tonight.
Always, absolutely.
So people are saying that these megastructures, to kind of get your mind around it, is what they're calling the Dyson sphere, that this is a massive object surrounding a star and harnessing its energy. Can you describe the Dyson sphere to our listeners, Dr. J?
Actually, let me differentiate. What they found, the megastructure, was actually a different star. This is a newer one because they're actually talking about civilization. The Dyson spheres are basically large solar panels, and what they've done is that, if everyone recalls Michio Kaku when he described the fact that the three types of civilizations, type 3 being intergalactic and being able to harness the power of the black holes in the center of galaxies. We're type 0 because we can barely space-faring nation. But Skype, he said, is a type 1 telephone system because you can do it from around the world with video. Now, this would be a type 2 civilization. Why? Because they're able to terraform other planets, colonize their entire solar system, make it all habitable, and then get them to move, I guess, change orbit in some sort of strange way. I guess you could put it that direction, by harnessing the power of their sun, their star. And obviously,
actually, hold on a sec, Doctor. I don't know if we're talking about the same thing that Kepler discovered, that these megastructures are larger.
Yes, no, it's not the last week one.
Larger than the size of Jupiter.
Yeah, this is a couple days ago. This is more than a couple days ago. You're talking about larger than that because it's got to be larger than our sun, even bigger than that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So
yes.
The megastructure was found a week ago. This is something that was found 2 days ago, 3 days ago. Well, and here's the crazy part I got to tell you. Remember, Kepler went down, I believe it was 2013, right? It was done. Why is NASA slowly feeding us this information? Are they acclimating us to disclosure finally? I mean, you have all this activity. You have all this crazy stuff going around the world. Watchers 9 did a really amazing job. I don't know if you watched the copy I sent you. describing like that, because they deviated from just UFOs this time and went to global prophecies and the fact that the climate change is not the end of the world, it's just a cycle. And as a matter of fact, that there is evidence to support Planet X and Nibiru, and that it's actually come, and it's all in the Old Testament of the Bible and all these old Hindu texts and every other old manuscript you could find from the 10,000 years ago, 7,000 years ago, and so on. But there's just so much stuff going on, Blake. It's you guys cover it all the time. You know, you're getting videos every single day. Obviously, this was not happening 100 years ago, 200 years ago. There's another story. I don't know if you're aware of this. A medical journal was just uncovered from 1895, and the pictures in it actually depict gray aliens putting people
that doesn't surprise
on
me.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me either. But this debunks what all the Hollywood people were saying, that gray aliens were created by Hollywood in the 50s. BS.
Exactly.
Obviously, you've seen them in cave paintings from 2,000 years ago, 7,000 years ago. And there's even a flying saucer cave painting found from 37,000 years ago in France. I mean, you just can't deny. And Linda Moulton Howe talks about that they terraformed Earth for us to live on for 270 million years. And I actually believe that, because you look at all these things that killed off these different beings, they weren't, natural disasters. These were them, testing different creatures, per se. Now, the reason why Bob Lazar doesn't want to talk, and he's actually stated this, is because if we were to find out we're nothing but an alien ant farm, because Homo sapiens, us, what we evolved to after 62 external corrections from Neanderthal and Homo erectus, right, undergoing the 63rd external correction via all these abductions right now, which is why the children of the future are actually called Homo nueticus right now, the new children that are born. And so basically what's happening is that more than 100 planets around the galaxy, if not other galaxies, contain humans as a project. And they don't care about us. And I'll tell you why. They care about the Earth. If we destroy the Earth with nukes and everything else that we're doing, they're going to wipe us off, because, we're replaceable. Our souls live on. They go on into other species, other planets, other beings, whatever. As a matter of fact, there's a whole book on gray aliens and the taking of souls.
Sure, Dr. J. You know what? Wow, the big subject matter tonight, and I think we're going to even get questions from the viewers calling in. Let's hold off just for a second on some of this new information coming in. I got to kind of absorb what just came in, as well as the listeners. We'll be right back. Third Phase of Moon Radio. This is it. We're getting to callers in just a minute and a half. We'll be right back. Blake Cousins, live, Third Phase Moon Radio. You know what we're going to do now? I look forward to every week, and that's taking calls from people. So let's do it. Dr. J's going to stand by. Maybe he's got some questions to the callers. 580. Welcome to Third Phase of Moon Live.
Hey, Blake, what's up? Aloha, man.
Hey, aloha back. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Durant, Oklahoma, here in USA.
All right, Durant, Oklahoma. I've got some videos from Oklahoma, UFOs, over the years. Have you seen one?
Yeah, man.
Really?
No, not personally, but I just wanted to say I've been watching this show. I really enjoy it. I think it's really cool.
Thank you.
I think y'all guys are doing a great thing. I'm really excited. I'm hoping we hear from Jaron or his dad tonight.
Yeah, you know what? Last week's show was quite incredible. I'm hoping myself. You know what? Just stand by. Let's see what callers called in, because last week's show with the 12-year-old boy that was, when he was 12, he actually killed an alien with his dojo stick. That was quite amazing. Let's see what 563 area code has to say. Welcome to the show. You're live. 563, you're live, third phase. 563, going once, going twice. He's out of here. Let's go to area code 651. You're live, third phase moon. Welcome.
Hey, Blake Cousins.
Hey, how's it going?
Cousins?
What's your name? This is Blake Cousins. Yeah.
I'm just calling to say I love the show, man. I'm just listening in.
Just listening. Hey, let me ask you a question. Did you listen to last week's show?
I did.
What do you think? What grabbed you the most? It's the 12-year-old boy and his dad is the documentary filmmaker of Alien Autopsy. Who do you want to listen to most? That kid's father and the kid, or the guy that told us about his experience in the woods killing an alien? More on that.
Honestly, I'd like to hear more, but you know what I mean? It's kind of blank.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? Let's stand by. Maybe we'll get some more information tonight. You know, there's some issues with the phone lines. People are coming in, popping in and out. You know, test the phone lines. Call in. Share your UFO story. We want to hear your UFO stories. The number to call in is 347-934-0378. I wanted to get a question and kind of a dialogue going back and forth with Dr. J. You there, Dr. J?
Absolutely.
Okay, so, you know, this discovery by Kepler and what it entails, do you think they're going to admit it this year and admit it to the public? So far it's been on ABC News. They've talked about it with Kaku, and then there's other little sources of media. But when is, like, the official people coming about and talking about it? I haven't heard NASA say anything or the White House.
Well,
we're getting
you're absolutely right. Let me do say that this is, I hope people don't repeat this yet. You're going to hear Neil deGrasse Tyson soon on Art Bell, so that would be a great place to get that information. But I think they're acclimating us. And actually, the Eisenhower administration put in place a 50-year plan to acclimate us to disclosure. Unfortunately, with all the members of the MJ12, which has actually changed the name several times, I don't know what it's called now, that just keep recycling different members, have obviously changed the agenda. So I don't know if we're going to get there. So there's obviously what I heard from Dr. Dan Burish claimed, because his wife's father was MJ12, and the actual leader of MJ12, the last one, was Admiral Mike McDowell, one of the two. Ultimately, what's going on is there's a tug of war between the 12 members. 6 of them want disclosure, the other 6 don't. So the 6 that want disclosure are actually going behind the back of the MJ12 and leaking stuff out. The other 6, of course, are doing everything they can to silence it. People are still getting killed. Actually, I just spoke today to Tony Gosling, British, very well-known British journalist, does a very, very high-rated show in Bristol, near London, the UK. He's going to be a guest of mine, actually, next week. And he was just talking about this politician in the UK who was actually in Blair administration and a couple of the administrations I didn't recognize. I'm sure it was the most recent prime minister and the prime minister before that, who was in perfectly good health a week ago and just keeled over dead because he was going to testify about 9/11. Now, that's totally off the subject, but really, they're all linked because they're all conspiracies. They're all put in place by the same group that wants to control us. And that's the sad part. So I really hope we get there. Real quick, before you go on, let me tell you one thing. I got some insight on the Ray Santilli video, the alien autopsy. What happened was Ray Santilli met a photographer that apparently claimed that he had filmed the 1947 Roswell autopsy. And he had one reel left that they didn't confiscate or take from him. And he bought it for a large sum of money. I believe it was over $100,000 that he paid for it. So he put this giant premiere together in London, and he invited the world's top researchers, including our good friend Stanton Friedman, who's appeared on Third Phase of the Moon several times and Dr. J Radio Live several times. And what happened was, is some people disagree with this. They just think he was a fraud at the beginning, but it's not so much that's the case. The MJ12 members stepped in and said, you've already come out publicly with this. We can't kill you now. If you want to stay alive, you're going to give us that film, and we're going to give you a film to show. And that's why what we saw on Fox TV, Fox News, and that wasn't Fox News, it was just the Fox channel, 20-some years ago, was the fake alien autopsy film. So the real one does exist, and he really did uncover it. Yes.
Yeah, that's what how the story goes. Is basically they made the film, the fake one, on top of the real film that's been still yet to be released to the public, but it's out there.
Correct.
Yeah.
No, it's not out there anymore. They took it. That was the thing. They took it. They approached
it's
him
out there.
and said, "You've already."
It's out there somewhere. It's probably out there somewhere in a private collection, and maybe you would be quite surprised of maybe who actually owns that footage.
Let me ask you to actually say that it's now not in a private collection because they confiscated it. But I'll tell you what, things are no longer military bases.
Hold on a sec.
They're not.
Who are
they?
Hold on.
They,
who are
the
they?
MJ-12, the Bilderbergers, whatever you want to call them, the Illuminati, the Luciferians.
Hold on a sec.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is that there's people in high power that love to collect art collectibles. Trophies.
Oh, yeah, the Vatican.
Yeah, so
they have alien bodies, dead alien bodies buried with their popes.
So imagine this: they have their private parties, the super rich, and they're like, "Check out this film. Look at what I got. This is a real. This is what I'm talking about. It's in somebody's private collection, in my opinion."
No, you're right in that sense. You're right in that sense. And let me tell you why things are no longer in military base. Because ever since we enacted the FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, right, and people such as a good friend of mine, John Greenwald, who runs the Black Vault, where he's collected the world's largest collection of UFO documents released by Freedom of Information Act. Well, what happened is that the people spooked, the private, the rich, the billionaires and that are controlling the world, the top 50 people that own 80% of the money or something like that. What they did is they said, well, now this is going to be susceptible to people's requests. Let's get it out of here and put it in private military contract. That is why they don't have to answer to us.
That's because of the military-industrial complex.
Yep, we're getting Air code 801, welcome to the show. Tell us your name. Where are you calling from?
Nathan Tafoya.
Hey, Nathan. What do you got to say on the subject matter? Go ahead.
Well, it's funny. I mean, the government has a lot of cover-up and everything, but in all reality is if you want to get things exposed, you need to make the effort and do it. It's really easy to make contact. It all comes in the conscious thought process, and if people have practiced it and are in the right area, you can expose this, and it faults everything that's ever been taught.
Speaking of
if you guys have.
It's
really easy. How would you do that?
How would you go about exposing? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I mean, obviously you guys are quite familiar with doing this for a long time, but Dr. Stephen Greer, he's got an application that you can purchase, and you can make ET contact at the 5th, contact level, which is through conscious thought, and you can actually bring them and invite them there, and it works.
Absolutely, but it's been going on for years. This study, and people are apparently mastering this. We've tried to break the news back in the day about all this, but what's come of it? I haven't seen yet the quite smoking gun video from these summoners just quite yet. The public, yes. The public, where they're out there, they don't expect to see a UFO, and all of a sudden it's there. That's how I encountered my first UFO. So do you think that these people that are summoning these UFOs are going to – I haven't seen any compelling, incredible UFO evidence via video from these summoners. Do you have any?
I don't have videos, and the reason being is, I've never really thought of doing it at that time. It's more of a enlightening experience. I don't, you have to be able to perceive what you want out of the experience, and, yes, video would be great footage and all, but more of the personal experience, and then if you can get that message on to other people, then it's a different situation.
Sure.
Proof's in the pudding with video footage and everything and all, but it's more of a belief than anything. Obviously, we're not alone. Technology has gone by so far and advanced throughout our history, and it's time to evolve more.
Sure thing. Exactly. Let me ask you this question, and I'll be asking this question for the rest of the night. But here it is, because the subject came up. You ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
Where is the film of the alien autopsy, the real one? Who has it in their possession? And I mean who, not just they. Who would you think has it that physically could play? Yeah.
Obviously, probably U.S. government. Russia has their own, I'm sure. A lot of other countries, France. There's a lot of places that experiment, but who knows about the Roswell one, if that's what you're talking about. What about the several other ones?
Tell you what, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put it out there because, and I won't get Dr. J's opinion, but I'm going to put it out there right now. If somebody could get me that video or the film, an original film from 1947 Roswell, of the alien autopsy, third phase of moon will pay $1 million to the person that can supply it. It's on record right now. Hey, got to put it out there.
I'm glad you did, Blake. I'm glad you did, because this is what gets people's thoughts going to actually go look for it. I could tell you something, an interesting thing. I don't know if I told you this. A family member of mine, I can't say who it is, you know off record who it is, works for a private military contractor who used to be called was formerly Blackwater USA. He's a hardcore skeptic and doesn't like what I do. But when he came back from Kuwait last time,
hold on a sec. Who doesn't like what you do?
Okay, I'll put it out there. It's my brother. He's working for was formerly Blackwater USA and a private military contractor in Kuwait. And so he's a skeptic. And in his last visit, coming back here in this past, I believe it was April, and what he told me was that if I can get my medical issues fixed, as you know, from the wreck and the neuropathy, that I can't go through the military because they only hire retired military. His roommate is a retired U.S. Army general, a 3-star general. And what he does for a living, gets paid $200,000 a year, is uses the most high-tech equipment given by the United States government to this private military contractor to search for extraterrestrial craft. Now, in the past, he always claimed, it's the spy planes, it's the U.S. Air Force, it's this and that. But he knows, without a doubt, that we know where every drone is. We know where every space drone is. We know where every Russian drone is because we have the best equipment. We sell it to them, for God's sake. Therefore, this guy, his roommate, I don't know with what team he's working with. He just knows it because he interacts with him every day when they go back to the embassy, because that's where they're actually staying to, in the embassy in the Kuwait, is that he's telling that they're looking for patterns, where they're coming from, the size of the ships, and that's what he documents. And where they're, around the planet. And the only thing they could pinpoint so far, without a doubt, is that they are coming regularly from the moon. And that's been postulated for a long time.
Well, hold on a sec, Dr. J. Hold on. And I want to get to this point of why there are a lot of skeptics out there. Everybody stay tuned. Everybody call in. You got a UFO story. We got a half hour left. This is Third Phase Moon Radio. We'll be right back. This is Blake Cousins.
Transmission completed. We have an unidentified object. Third phase of moon.
Third Phase of Moon. Back on air, taking your calls live from around the world, just the way we like it, Friday nights. Look forward to it every week. You're looking at video that I just captured today just before we got to the station to broadcast. I want to bring back Dr. J in regards to why there's some skeptics out there, and Dr. J's brother is a skeptic. But my question to Dr. J is, when you introduce somebody to the idea that we're not alone in the universe, would it be wise to be saying the first thing is that most of the aliens are coming from the moon? People might just roll their eyes on that one.
You're right. You don't say stuff like that. You ever heard that saying that if you put a frog in boiling water, it's going to leap out? But the best way to kill that frog is put it in cold water and boil it. Slowly boil it up. It's going to stay in there.
That's cruel.
You have to do the same thing with people. You have to acclimate them. You can't just come out with the craziest thing out there. Yeah, they're coming from the moon. They're going to roll your eyes. You start with something simple, like the Kepler telescope finding all these exoplanets, that at this megastructure, the types 2 civilization. Then you go back to the ancient history that they've been visiting us. Then you start laying it down about the moon. Hell, the Apollo 14 astronaut that we've interviewed, Edgar Mitchell, in the last interview that I did with him that's posted on my channel on Dr. J Radio Live, DRJ Radio Live, he talks about the alien base on the moon.
Okay.
And we were warned off on the moon. And let me tell you, I finally understood why there was this big debate between the people that say we've never been to the moon and the moon footage was hoaxed. It absolutely was hoaxed, and I'll tell you why. Again, this came from Edgar Mitchell. This was off record. He holds out a lot publicly. But when you get
I remember when I talked to Edgar Mitchell, I asked him the big question, what it felt like to be on the moon, and he said he doesn't really know because it's all about protocol and work. Are you kidding me? I know Dr. Edgar Mitchell. I'm glad that he was on the show, but to me there's a little suspicion going on whether he made it to the moon. You know,
fortunately, I've interviewed him 7 times since then. 7 more times since then. I've gotten a lot more out of it.
Dr. J, does he tell you what it felt like to be on the moon?
Yes, he absolutely does. What he says is just like you said, that he, was just following the mission because everything that they trained for on the ground. But when he was finally done all the work, he had a moment to actually sit on the moon, see the Earth, see the star, or see the sun, see the other planets, and was just blown away. And then on his ride home from the moon, when all his work was done, because he's a pilot as well. I don't know if he piloted the Apollo craft on that mission, but in that era, every astronaut had to be a pilot. That's changed a lot now. Now there's the mission specialists, which are non-pilots. The point I'm trying to get at is he had this crazy power. Like, you live in Hawaii. You look around, it's giant. Yet you go in the plane, you look at the small islands, right? Even though you're on the big island. Well, you look at the landmass of Russia. It's huge. Well, step away from that, off the planet, all of a sudden you're looking at all these giant planets and the moon. So when he saw in the same field of vision in front of him, the moon, the star, the sun, our star, called Sol, apparently by some extraterrestrials, and the Earth, he had an experience which actually led him to consciousness.
Hold on. Breaking news. Sorry, Dr. J. I got to take this call. Stand by. We got Jared back right here at Third Phase of Moon. Hey, thanks for calling back. You there, Jared?
Yeah, sorry I'm late. I was just busy. I think my dad should be on the line now. He has the same he has the same area code. His last 4 digits are 0501 if he's on.
Okay, he's not on yet. I might have to make some room on maybe there's just too many people calling it. He's not in. No. Jared, we're looking for the caller. He's got a last 4 digits to look for?
0501.
Okay. He's not here, Jared.
I was just wondering, are you guys like triplets or are you guys twins from Hawaii?
Well, there's only. Why would you say there's triplets?
Oh, I don't know. I was just confused if you guys are like triplets or like twins because I know you guys are from Hawaii. I just called in one.
Yeah, no problem. Well, I have an identical twin brother, and his name is Brent Cousins. And basically, identical means that, we're clones. We have the exact same DNA, but yet no third brother, as far as we know. As far as we know.
All right.
But yeah. Okay, so your dad, hold on, I just want to make sure that everybody knows why I want to get Jared on the radio tonight. And that's because Jared called in last week, correct?
Yes, I did.
And you explained to me that your dad, your father, was actually the producer of the documentary Alien Autopsy. Right?
Yeah, and he's done many other things like Unsolved Mysteries and, aliens on the moon and stuff. If you guys want to research him, you can. But yeah, he's produced many paranormal shows and stuff like that.
Well, Dr. J might be Dr. J might know of the name. What was your dad's name again?
Robert Kiviat. Robert Kiviat.
I've actually absolutely heard of that name, but Jared, I'd love to know. You're 12 years old, right? And you're obviously 14, and you're obviously very well of what he's done. When did he start telling you about this? Because a lot of this goes back to 20 plus years ago. And what has he told you? And the most astonishing thing he told you?
You know, he doesn't really like telling me that much because he's afraid I'll tell my friends about it, and you know, he just doesn't want many people knowing until it's actually produced. So, yeah, I mean, he hasn't. Honestly, I hope you could get him on the line because I'm not really the person to ask. I'm just trying to like hook you guys up with him. So let me just keep on trying to get him on. He said he'll call in, but he hasn't done it yet.
Okay, make it happen, Jared. We're standing by, man. We'll check back. Well, you know, I believe this kid. I believe what he's saying. I really want to talk to the dad, right, Dr. J?
Absolutely, and I believe him too. Kids don't lie. They don't, and that's why when kids see UFOs... Hold
on a sec, Dr. J. You mean when you're a kid, he never lied?
Of course I did, but it was so obvious to everybody. You know what I mean? You talk to a psychologist, you talk to your parents, they see right through that lie. And young children, 4, 5, 6 years old, form lies yet. Maybe when they hit first grade and kindergarten and start interacting with teachers, but prior to that, kids don't lie. So when they say they saw a 3-foot-tall being in their room or a closet monster or things walking through their walls or things they met in the forest, they're not lying. And, you know, they're legitimately telling the truth. Kids make the best witnesses in everything.
Absolutely. I concur with that. Let's bring in area code 619. We got 2 callers from San Diego. I want to make sure that we get to them both. 994, you there?
Hello, Blake?
Oh, yeah, Kelly.
Yeah, how's it going?
Hey, all I got to say for you real quick, and not everybody might not get it, but I got to do it for you, my friend. Ute.
Oh, yeah. Heck yeah, we're ready to go up there to L.A. Tomorrow and go watch the Ute play my Utah Ute, number 3 in the nation. So, yeah, Ute.
Right on. Hey,
who's playing? Because I'm actually in L.A. I'd love to see you.
Yep, Kelly. Just I want to get to both San Diegos. We'll get back to Kelly real quick. But here's another caller from San Diego, 961. You there?
Yeah, Blake. This is Mike. I'm here. How are you?
Hey, doing pretty good tonight, Mike. What's going on?
Yeah, I had submitted a video to you, I think, last week about a entity, a really dark blackish entity flying next to a contrail. I was watching your show last week, and you had asked to submit videos of anything next to a contrail. So I thought, well, maybe I ought to give it a shot.
Absolutely, Mike. Hey, thanks for calling in. This is how Third Phase Moon works. And, wow, Mike, have we ever spoken before?
You sent an email to me the other day. I submitted the video. I'm not sure if you took a look at it, though.
Yeah, I reached out to you last week in regards to your footage that you submitted, and I invited you to come on this Friday show, and I've been waiting to share your footage because I wanted to get insight on it. Thanks for calling in.
Gotcha. Absolutely.
Okay, so
it happened last March. Yeah,
okay.
It happened this last March. I was coming home from my shop, and I was unpacking the back of my truck. And, I'm down here in San Diego. We got a few military bases. We've got Miramar. I'm in El Cajon, which is just about 20 minutes east of the ocean. And this spring we had a lot of really weird clouds in the sky. And by clouds, I mean probably what, you would commonly refer to as the contrails. And I really wasn't familiar with the contrails until I started noticing these really bizarre clouds, but not just that, but there was a really, really low level of humidity in the air. And I'm talking like, you'd wake up in the morning and your skin was dry. And, but anyhow, I came to the conclusion that this thing that I caught on video was somehow affected by a low humidity, and it managed to uncloak it. And since then, I've upgraded my camera equipment, and I went from, a funky Sony camcorder that we got when my wife and I got married about 9-10 years ago, and it was the only thing I had at the time, So I grabbed it, and I got some fairly good video out of it. But now I'm using HD camera attached to some Celestron binoculars, so I'm able to get some pretty interesting things now. In fact, I just go and set my camera out, put it in photo mode, and I pretty much get stuff every night now.
Wow.
I haven't got any more videos.
Hold on a sec. Breaking news, and it's breaking right as we speak, and we're playing your video. I just want to get one question. May we share your video on Third Phase of Moon?
Absolutely. You have my permission to do so.
Thank you very much, Mike, and appreciate you sharing your encounter. I just got to get to this breaking news, but we'll be giving you the credit where credit's deserved. Thanks for calling in. We got, I think what we have is Robert Kavat calling into Third Phase of Moon, and I think we finally got him. We've been waiting for a week, and Robert, you there?
I'm here. How are you guys doing tonight?
Wow, doing quite well. I got to say, your son's quite amazing to reach out to us and talk about you. You must have a big influence on your son.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm very aware of the work you guys are doing. I have shared that with my children. I mean, the way I see it, there's a lot of information out there that's basically bogus. And what you guys have to look at very carefully is that when you mix things that are not accurately true or proven in any way, especially on videotape these days, or video in general, not videotape, but video, I think you guys have to be really careful. And I'm just a little concerned that the work you guys are doing is mixing way too much fact and fiction, and it's very, very confusing to the public to figure out what's real and what's not. And I've come across your work more and more where, I got to be honest with you guys, it's quite clear that some of the video is cooked up with digital graphics and CGI, and, no one with any kind of a brain would deny that. So I think what we really are saying tonight, guys, is let's make an agreement that the work that you're doing stays focused on credible evidence, things that you can verify and factually vet in some ways, and not just put it out there for a couple of extra hits on the website or hits on YouTube or whatever, because I think in general, if indeed aliens are visiting the Earth, the worst thing you could be doing is confusing the public. And I think you guys got to be clear on this. And I'm coming from a very well established credential here. You guys got to understand, we came across your work more and more where you guys are putting out things that were allegedly real, shot by you guys, or in some ways, basically, your work, let's say, not from other people, but things that you guys are putting out there as real, that absolutely are not real. And I could point to many videos that we looked at over the last few years that I think you would agree are BS. So I think
sure.
Robert? We got to be realistic.
Well, Robert, let me go over your credentials real quick, and I appreciate exactly what you're saying. I'm going to explain my answer to this. But Robert Caveat, he's a paranormal phenomenon in its own sense. He's produced 11 specials for 20th Century Fox, including Aliens on the Moon, The Truth Exposed, I Shot JFK, The World's Greatest Hoaxes, Secrets Finally Revealed, Miracles and Visions, Fact and Fiction, UFOs, The Best Evidence Caught on Tape, Alien Autopsy, The True Story, Unsolved Mysteries. Okay, there is, right away, when I just went over that, a lot of things that I'm pretty sure that you put out there that might have not been 100% accurate. But before we get to that, also, I wanted to say, there's footage that's obviously been CGI'd and slipped through the cracks and have been put up on Third Phase Moon. I've admitted that from the beginning. The thing is, we get it in quick, and when it looks good, and people have a story behind it, and we're talking to the people that submitted it, well, yeah, sometimes we have to make the decision, and sometimes it's wrong, but we've asked the question, should we just not share it to the world whatsoever and let the people make up their own mind? Just like how you, I think, produce your show. Let me bring back Robert. Robert, go ahead.
Yeah, I appreciate that you muted me, and I want everyone on the air to know that you muted me while I was trying to respond. One thing I want to be clear about is I do appreciate that you guys are into the material, that you're carrying on a lot of work that I helped generate in the public, which I do appreciate greatly. But what you guys got to understand is every one of the TV shows you mentioned that I've done, not one video that I showed, and there are hundreds of videos that I showed, not one did we not think without some credibility here, there was probably a good chance it was authentic. The only one might be, the exception might be Alien Autopsy, which was a 17-minute film. Hold on. 17-minute film that if indeed it's fake, it is one of the most extraordinary fakes ever created. So when you compare that, with all due respect, to videos that are coming in from the Internet with no verification of who really shot it, no provenance to check into, and you're putting it out there as it might be real, that's not the same thing. You have to understand that we produce shows for Fox and NBC Universal, which was the Aliens on the Moon show you mentioned. It wasn't Fox, it was NBC Universal and Sci-Fi. We had to make sure that with every ounce of credibility or research we could possibly muster, we could verify it was probably real or not. We didn't know for sure, but by no means was there any evidence that it was fake. And so what I'm saying to you guys is try to be a little bit more cognizant of the fact that a lot of people out there don't know what's real, they don't know what's fake, and you guys are really leading a lot of people to look at evidence. So be careful and be very, very objective when you're talking to people about the videos. Say, hey, look, guys, we don't know where they came from. No one's really standing up and standing behind them. We don't know. To be very honest with you, every video that I've aired, every one of them, we know who shot them, where they came from. We went through, due diligence, whatever we could possibly do within reason. And so I will vouch for almost every single video. We're talking about hundreds and hundreds of videos that we do not know for sure if they're real or they're not. But we know one thing: we did everything we could to verify the provenance, where they came from,
Robert,
who shot them.
Listen, they got to wait till they see it on Fox. They got to see it until 20th Century approves it. 20th Century, I don't trust 20th Century Fox on disclosing UFO news.
Oh, really? You trust yourself and your website more than 20th Century Fox?
I trust the people.
Really?
I really trust the people more than any other establishment. Do you believe that like you said, the alien autopsy, real, or do you believe it? You put it up there. It's your documentary.
To this day, by the way, I could have a nice, if you guys want to have a conversation about that, I'd be glad to come on your show.
Absolutely.
I will tell you the utter truth about that video. To this day, we really do not know 100% whether or not that film is real. And I'll tell you why. And I want to make sure this is not an attack on you guys. I'm trying to make sure you realize I'm supporting you in trying to do the right kind of journalism. And so I think you guys should do that. And I'll do everything I can to help you. I'll be happy to come on your show anytime you want to talk about the alien autopsy. The alien autopsy, by the way, is one of the most extraordinary videos ever shown, because if you look at the show I did called Alien Autopsy, The True Story, you're going to find out that we believe if the alien autopsy is indeed any kind of fabrication, it is based on a real film the government may have, and we have all the kind of credibility and research to show that. So even if the people behind the alien autopsy did a bit of fudging and did what they claim a reconstructing footage that might be real, there's a huge story behind it, which I'll be more than happy to come on, tell you all about it. We could get your listeners really keen on it and understand how it ties into a movie made in England called Alien Autopsy, with actors playing the parts of the people behind the footage. We can talk all about that. I'm more than happy to embrace kind of a dialogue with you guys, because I think you guys are doing some pretty interesting stuff. But you got to remember, we have looked at your videos for verification, for validity on your website.
I know the producers have been calling us over and over from every single network for the past few
They're
years.
Idiots. They are idiots to call you.
Well, whatever. That's why we do Third Phase of Moon the way it is, Rob. But wait a sec, Robert, what I want to do...
Should I point out which ones I'm talking about? You want to talk about them? I'll talk about which ones that I'm referring to. Ones that were allegedly shot by you guys, you and your brother. So it's not like I'm sitting here telling you about videos that, you know, you put out there and said somebody shot it. I'm talking about videos that you guys claimed you shot. And you guys have to stand up about those videos and not the ones that people sent you.
Okay, I don't know. I've only submitted a couple videos that I've shot, and I put them up at Third Phase Moon. Absolutely. Let's go over those, and let's go over other videos that I've submitted. And we could, yeah, that's what I like. I like an open mind, and that's what we do. Even Dr. J. And Dr. J and I were just talking about this possible new footage that was based on this alien autopsy, the original. And my question to you is, and I asked this earlier in the program, is who do you think owns that tape? Who do you think?
Let's talk about which one do you mean? I want to make sure.
Not the one that was on your, the one not on your show, but this allegedly other film of the real alien autopsy. Who's in possession of this?
Describe which one you're talking about. Tell me which one. Describe it. And if you describe the video, then I didn't see earlier. I didn't listen earlier.
Yeah. Okay. The alien autopsy. The alien autopsy hangar dissection. It's in a hangar. Okay. With military. I don't know exactly if we're on a miscommunication. All I'm saying is who has the original 16 millimeter video? That's all I'm trying to ask. Okay. Who has it? Not they, but who?
Are you asking
the
me about
original
the
one
that aired on Fox many years ago? The Fox video, the one we showed on Fox?
Yes.
Are you talking about that? Okay.
No, I'm talking about not that. You're saying that this was based on real footage. Where's the real footage? Who has this?
Okay. If I want to make sure we're clear, because I don't want to dominate your show. I want to make sure you have a chance to express what you want to say. So are you telling me that there's a new video out there circulating, which in some way dovetails to the alien autopsy footage that I showed on Fox? But I'm unaware of what you're talking about? Okay.
No, I just offered $1 million reward for it. I just offered $1 million reward for that footage. If anybody could verify and give me the film so we could analyze it. You could be more than welcome, but I'm putting it out there that there is a film.
Well, I'll tell you. Okay. Are you talking about the supposition that there might be a real film, that this one was more or less copying, and you want to see the real one presented? And if the real one is presented, then you'll be offering money for it? Is that what you're saying?
Well, let's just Dr. J's here. Maybe I'm not asking the question right, but here's Dr. J. See if he could ask the
Robert,
question.
It's a pleasure to speak to you. It's our host of Dr. J Radio Live and associate producer for Art Bell. Listen, the race. Okay, my good friend, the Honorable Paul Hellyer, former Defense Minister of Canada, has very high contacts, and he's been able to confirm.
I know, Paul. That's fine.
Paul's a great friend of mine. Great friend of mine. I speak to him at least once a week, minimum once a week. He is able to confirm everything in the book from the day after Roswell. But according to the Ray Santilli, he was able to uncover this film. But before he had the premiere, that he was approached by Admiral Mike McDowell, who's leader of MJ-12, and basically said, you've already publicly announced this. If you want to stay alive, give us the film, and here's this film that you're going to air. And they gave him the bogus footage. So the real, actual alien abduction or alien autopsy film still exists from 1947 that has never really aired anywhere. That's what we're looking for.
Well, okay, let me make sure I'm clear. So you call yourself Dr. J. Have you worked with Art Bell or with George Norrie?
I still work for Art Bell right now. I work for Art Bell right now.
Okay, so I've been on our show a few times, and I've been with George Norrie many times. Now, here's my bottom line. If what you're saying is you believe to be the story that the alien autopsy footage was Santilli had it at one time, they said, you better give it back to us, we're going to give you a bogus film, and that's what we aired on Fox, I will not tell you that doesn't make some sense. And if you guys want to have a conversation about that, I'll be more than happy to get into that. But the issue is that's a story that's been out there for years. People have claimed it. I'm not quite sure if I've ever been able to shed much light on it, but it's a fascinating idea. So it's something that we could talk about. But overall, if Paul Hellyer is saying that he has some corroboration for that, that makes the mystery even more intriguing, makes the footage even more impactful, and it takes it away from kind of being kind of forgotten back into the public lexicon, the cultural lexicon, which I think is important. And so if you're telling me that, we surely should have a dialogue about that. It's fascinating. I do believe
exactly. And Paul Hellyer, and we were running out of time here. We'd have to do this another time. I could tell you so much more that he's told me on record and off record that can confirm things. Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
We got 2 minutes left of this show.
By the way,
reach me out on my website.
Wow. You know what? This is
guys, good call. Thank you very much, guys. Good call.
We're going to make contact with everybody that just called into Third Phase. We got Robert's contact number. We'll be keeping in touch with you, Robert. Appreciate
Thanks,
that
guys.
you called in tonight.
All right, man.
Okay,
thank you. Take care, man. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
You too, man. Appreciate it. You know, incredible show tonight. Lots of subject matter. We had Dr. J Radio Live.com join us. He has his own YouTube channel. Look up Dr. J Radio Live. You'll find it. It's out there. He, like he said, works for Art Bell. Quite amazing. You know what? We're going to be back next week, Friday, again, taking calls from around the world. So don't forget to join us, 12 a.m. midnight if you're in New York, 9 p.m. Los Angeles time, 6 p.m. Pacific, right here in Hawaii. This is Blake Cousins, Third Phase of Moon. Everybody, if you've captured anything amazing out there, submit it to us right here via Skype, Facebook. We have an About page on Third Phase of Moon. It's an easy contact. We love sharing your videos and letting the people decide, the public. Blake Cousins. Keep your eyes on the skies, everybody. We'll see you again next time.